Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Heist Brewing Company out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This beer is called Hive Fives. I'm sure you could tell that there's the little, not little, it's pretty big actually on the label. The Hop Hornet, if you want to call it that, which makes sense because we're in Charlotte. There is a name, Hive Fives. Description says Hoppy American Blonde Ale brewed with local honey. So it makes me think that this is kind of like a smaller version of I can't think of what it's called now, but they do a double IPA with honey. This is 5.5 ABV. So let's crack it open and see what we got. Hoppy Blonde Ale is always one that, you really never know what you're going to get with it because sometimes it is almost basically like a session IPA and sometimes it is really just like a blonde ale. So, but it is cloudy, no surprise coming from these guys. About a finger's worth of pretty fluffy white head. It's not really going anywhere. So I do get a little bit of like a peachy orangey hop character. It's not like as potent and in your face as like one of their IPAs, but it's prominent. A little bit of a grainy character, but the hops are probably the biggest thing in the aroma that I'm getting. Sorry, just thinking. So this is really similar to their style. Where I'm getting the body itself is pretty soft, which for a blonde ale, in my opinion, isn't really what you want. You want it to be a little bit of biting and just, I don't know. In a sense, like it's one of the styles that you actually want to be a little bit watery, if that makes any sense. I usually think their IPAs are a little under attenuated, but they're flavorful, so I don't really mind it. But a blonde ale, that's something that I generally don't want to be under attenuated, and this seems like it's a little under attenuated too. I get, and it's not. I can't imagine the sweetness is from the honey because honey ferments like at 100%. So that should actually dry out the beer. I mean, it's really not sweet, but I wish it was a little drier than it is. And maybe the fact that the hop profile is like not nearly as big and strong as their IPAs, that even the mild amount of IBUs that you get from the dry hopping from their IPAs is really not here with this beer. So the sweetness of the malt is really standing out. But flavor-wise, like sans the sweetness, just flavor itself, it is actually really clean and easy to drink. So I do like it. I think it's pretty tasty. I just think if it was a little more dry, it could be, like really, really top-notch, like session beer. I guess it's not really session, it's 5.5, but, lower alcohol beer, pale ale, whatever you want to call it. One thing I do like about it is I'm getting a nice little orangey, peachy hop character. It's not overwhelming by any means. I would not call this a session IPA or even a pale ale. Now that I'm thinking about it, it does still have like some malty character to it. I'm not just talking about the sweetness itself, but just like actual malt flavor, like pale grain. Uh, that in my opinion is kind of keeping it in that realm of blonde ale. And actually, I'm curious what hops are in this because I'm almost getting a little bit of like a noble hop character, like a little bit of like a skunky hop burp at the end, which is really surprising. And I can't say that I don't like it. I actually think it keeps it, more in the lines of, because in my opinion, like a blonde ale should basically be a pilsner with fermented with ale yeast instead of lager yeast. A good one. So the fact that I'm getting like a little bit of a noble hop character out of this is making it's still not nearly as clean or as crisp as a pilsner, but just that taste is interesting, I think. Yeah, if you want like a big hoppy beer like their IPAs, that's something you're gonna get with this. But if you want a nice, easy drinking beer that has enough hop flavor that where it's not just like, this is bland and I'm tired of drinking it. Like, I think this would really fit the bill. This would be a good tailgating beer. So I can't remember what this cost, but I think I only bought one can of it, so it was a little bumped up in price. But I think this is only like $12 a 4-pack. I mean, I think it's like $3 a can, which makes sense. I mean, it's not nearly as hopped as their IPAs, and the malt profile is pretty basic, but it's not a bad drinking beer, and I would buy it again at that price. But I wouldn't recommend anyone else going like specifically trading for it, only because they've made this several times, even since I've been down here, which has only been over a little bit over a year. So, if you miss out, I would trade for it. But I mean, I could see trading for it maybe, but not going out of your way to get it like right now because it just came out. Because unless you can just find someone who can grab it for you for cost, which it shouldn't really be more than that anyways. It comes around pretty often, it seems like. So it's a nice accessible beer, and I'm glad that I bought a can of it because I wasn't sure because of the blonde ale thing, but it's decent. I would buy this again. So. But yeah, I think that's all I got on this guy. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.